we're going to be adding integers with the same sign. So when you add integers with the same sign, okay, you're going to add the absolute values of the integers, and you're going to use the same sign for the sum or for the answer to your addition problem. So let's do some examples. We have 4 plus 3. This is something you've been doing since you were little. All right, so we're going to use counters to represent our 4 positive right here, and we're going to add our 3 positive to it. So can you combine counters that are the same? Can you combine them all together and say that I have 7 positive counters? Yes, so your answer is 7. So we have 5 negative counters, and then you're adding in 2 more negative counters. So since I can combine all these, since they are the same sign, they're the same counter, the same type of counter, then this becomes, you have 7 negative counters. So your answer is -7. All right, so right here, a very short version, when the signs are the same, when you're adding, you're going to add and keep the sign. Okay, add and keep the sign. And we're going to cross this out for right now. So if you're adding the same type of counters together, your answer is going to be negative. If you're adding the same type of counters together, okay, and they're both positive, your answer is going to be positive. So it's different than your multiplication and division rules from last week. So let's look here. We start with a -8. So we have 8 negative counters, and we add 4 more negative counters. So now we have a total of 12 negative counters. All right, so let's practice a little bit. We have positive plus positive, your answer would be positive. Negative plus negative, your answer would be negative. You're just combining those like integers. So we have, so that's going to be, they're both positive, so it's going to stay positive, just like you've always done. Okay, we're going to add this. It's going to, they both are positive, so it's going to stay positive. Both are negative, so again, we take the absolute value. Just 20 plus 8 is 28. And since they're both negative, we're going to add and keep the sign. So here, they're both the same, so we're going to add and keep the sign. Here, they're both positive, so we're going to add and keep the positive sign. Here, they're both negative, so we're going to add and keep the sign. So how to do it on a number line? Well, first of all, number your number line. So when we were doing multiplication, we always started at 0 and then we moved in groups. Well, addition is not going to be moving in groups. All right, it's going to be moving exactly like it tells you to as far as jumping one at a time. So we're going to start at -5. And this second number, or the sign on the second number, is going to tell you in what direction to move. So if it's negative, we move to the left, and we're going to move 8 jumps to the left. So we're starting at -5 and jumping 8 jumps to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And putting an arrow where we end, so I can see where I started and where I ended. And where I ended, that's my answer. So it's going to be -13. So since they were the same sign, we add and kept the sign. Another way that you might see it is that they might start at 0 and say, okay, I'm going to move to -5. Okay, we have another line here. And then I'm going to go here and I'm going to go 8 more jumps. They just don't do it separately. So it might look something like that. So you started here, you moved to -5, and then you moved 8 more to the left, and you still ended at -13. So when you add a negative, like here, we move to the left, and when you add positives, you're going to move to the right on the number line. So let's number this other one. Now these are going to be adding positive numbers. So we're going to start at 7, and we're going to move 3. Since it's positive, we're going to move 3 to the right, and then we're going to move 1 to the right. So we're going to start at 7 and move 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to move 1 more to the right. So we're going to end at 11. So our answer is positive 11. All right, so let's look at our homework. So on your homework right here, when you are starting, here I have it down here, some of these for you. When you are starting at -5 and moving 2 to the left, it's going to look something like this. And then you're going to put your answer, okay? On the back, we talked about on 22, it talks about Jonestown and Cooperville, and it talks about dropping 10 degrees. So that was -10. Dropping 8 more degrees, that was -8. So for Jonestown, those are the 2 drops that happened. So it says write an equation, which means it has an equal sign, that models the change to the temperature in Jonestown since 1 o'clock. So since 1, it dropped 10, and then it dropped 8 more. So I add those together, and I get -18 degrees. So this would be an equation that models what happened in Jonestown. Then I would do the same for Coopersville, and then whichever one dropped the most, I don't really know the temperature, but whichever one changed the most is going to be colder.